I was having a conversation with myself in the mirror the other day, and I started to think about something that had been bothering me for a while. There are black men out there who have never disrespected us, never degraded us, never dehumanize us. Men who have been surrounded by plethora of black women their entire lives. Friends dated them and also uplifted them as well. But the moment you see one photo, one red carpet, one Instagram post with a non-black woman, suddenly he doesn't like us like that. I'm not his type. I'm not light enough. We're not good enough for him. And I have to ask, where is this coming from? Because I really want to understand of why black women tend to have these thoughts about black men. Who has not publicly degraded or dehumanized or disrespect black women? I just want to know. I just want to understand. Because if he never rejected you, you pretty much rejected yourself out of the dating pool. You eliminated yourself from something that could have been real, could have been beautiful, could have been the one, based on one photo, based on one assumption, based on a wound that was never his to give you. And that is what we need to talk about today on Her Take. So I just want to share my story, how everything started. Back in 2018, I was in a toxic relationship with this guy. I pretty much lost myself with him. Before I was in a relationship, I pretty much had this fake cockiness, fake confidence. And once I was in that relationship, I felt like I was on a roller coaster. It was like a high sugar rush. I didn't realize that this person was bad for me because I was so dependent on him to make me feel good about myself, looking for a validation. I pretty much lost my identity to myself to this man. I pretty much did everything for this man, and he didn't pour enough for me. And that's what happened. As soon as we broke up, I went into deep depression. I didn't eat. I lost weight. I didn't even want to get out of bed. I didn't even want to work. To a point where I lost myself. I had to put back the pieces together, and that didn't happen overnight. I pretty much isolate myself from my friends, my family, and I had to literally sit in a room to figure out what was the next move. After the crying, after the pity party, I had to come to terms with myself. I think what the first thing I did was I had to forgive myself, forgive everything that I went through in that situation. I actually had to forgive people in my life who I harbored a lot of hatred and anger towards. And that's something that I had to do. I had to date myself. Mind you, when I was out of that relationship, I went into another one. I think it was like in late 2019, which was a big mistake because that one was typically a situationship, but we will speak about that later. But I basically had to date myself. I had to get to know myself. I had to be honest with myself. And I had to pretty much not date for a while and just basically work on myself. And that's what I had to do. But we're going to dabble into that a little bit later. But I do want to ask you this. Think about the last relationship or situationship you were in. Were you showing up as someone you would actually be proud of? Or were you shrinking, performing, and people pleasing just to keep someone who was never fully choosing you? So I want to actually speak about what chasing actually looks like. Let's be honest and direct about what you observe in women around you. Let's actually observe the men who disrespect you, who degrade you, who broke you down. When I'm noticing there is a certain group of black women who tends to chase men who disrespects you, degrade you, who broke you down and pretty much low vibration and pretty much emotionally unavailable. And then the deeper truth is, why do a lot of these women tend to chase these type of men? Are we chasing our fathers, the ones who left us, the ones who are not present, are the ones who made us feel like we had to earn love? And until you deal with that wound, you will keep running towards the men that confirm it. And I feel as though that, like, when it comes to women choosing these type of men, they tend to not have no value, no self-worth for themselves. And they don't know what a man looks like who courts you and treats you like a queen, who opens the door for you, who speaks life into you, who's basically wants you to be the main character in your life. And he's not threatened by your spotlight. And it's very sad how y'all just continue to choose these men. Is it because the dick is really that good? Is that why you choose these men? I'm trying to understand, because maybe it has to do with the relationship that you have with your father, because you tend to keep choosing these fucked up scrubs. Here's the thing. Regardless of what relationship you have with your father, before you start dating, you need to have a relationship with yourself. You need to have a relationship with God, especially. But the most important relationship you need to have is with yourself before you even step into the dating pool. Because if you're asking why you keep choosing these wrong men, I want to ask you, what are you projecting to attract these men? Have you done the work? Have you done anything to literally change your self-concept and change the way how you look when it comes to relationship and when it comes to men, and also importantly when it comes to yourself? But I do want to ask you a question. Who are you really chasing? Because sometimes the man in front of you is not the real target. Sometimes you're chasing a feeling, a wound, a need that was never met a long time ago. And that is what we're sitting with. I do want to pivot and say something here. But here is what is even more painful, that chasing the wrong person. Rejecting yourself before anyone gets the chance. I saw a video recently, a black woman who was on this dating show called Pop the Balloon. As she was standing there, the host came to her and asked her, "Why did you pop your balloon?" "I popped my balloon because I feel like I'm not his type." She asked, "Why do you think that?" "Because I'm dark skinned." She asks the man, "Do you feel like she's your type?" He says, "Yes, she's very much my type. I do want to get to know her. I do find her attractive." And after the host said, "What do you think?" "I don't understand why I just don't believe that I just can't believe he finds me attractive." The host asked her, "Why are you so hesitant for this man to get to know you when he literally said that he finds you attractive?" And this is where I'm going to say that I just find that when it comes to certain black women, you tend to basically eliminate yourself from the dating pool. And maybe that comes from rejection, or may come from harbor bad experience from black men. Or maybe it was society that told you that you're not good enough. So I'm not really invalidate your experience of what you went through when it comes to dating, when it comes to your experience with black men. But when a man tells you that he's interested in you, then you need to be open to that. I don't think the problem with black women is with interracial dating when it comes to black men, because they don't really care if a black man is with a non-black woman. They don't really care. I think it's that they're tired of being fooled. They're tired of being rejected. So they just choose not to take that chance. But I think what a black woman needs to do is that you need to have this mindset that you are everyone's type. And even if you're not that person's type, you can move on to the next one. That's what you need to do. I just think that's the type of mindset that you need to have. But these two people on the dating show, they end up dating, and when she was doing a follow-up video with them, they were sitting on the couch comfortable, cozy, chummy, and she already met some of his family members. So this is an example of why you should not eliminate yourself in the dating pool and have an assumption that this man may not be interested in you because you're dark skinned. I do want to ask you this question. How many times have you popped your balloon? How many times have you decided you were not someone's type before they even had the chance to tell you otherwise? How many connections, opportunities, relationships have you walked away from because you rejected yourself first? So we are going to discuss what I had to learn. I had to stop seeking validation from men. I had to stop caring if I'm someone's type. I also had to learn how to love all the flaws, love all things about myself, the quirkiness, the weirdness about me. I had to really stop comparing myself to other women that I don't even know. And understanding that someone not finding me attractive says nothing about my worth. And I also had to learn to ask myself, why do I feel this way? Why am I insecure about this? Why does this person opinion of me matter so much? These are the things I had to do. One of the things I did was shadow work, where you basically ask yourself uncomfortable conversations. So shadow work, I would actually say you're holding a mirror in front of your face and you're asking these uncomfortable conversations. And when you're asking these conversations, you're going to cry, but it's going to be so uncomfortable that you're shifting into a new version every time you're asking these layers of questions. And I wouldn't recommend journaling them. I just recommend to just have a conversation with yourself. If you want to write it out, you can, but I would recommend to burn it because you don't want that to be a reminder. I had to really be honest with myself about where my insecurities were coming from. And that is not a comfortable conversation to have with yourself, but it's the most necessary one that a lot of us women need to have. But I do have a question for the audience. Whose validation are you still waiting for? A man's? Your family member? Social media? And what does it feel like to decide today that your own validation is enough? I'm going to speak about what actually shifted the game changers when it comes to being the woman who has it all, being the woman who doesn't give a fuck, being the woman who is secure and confident with herself. As I discussed earlier, I did shadow work, and what shadow work actually is asking conversations you're afraid to ask yourself. Journaling without judgment. One of the things I did was law of assumption. I did listen to subliminals, which actually change your subconscious mind and your mindset as well. Those are one of the things I did, and basically putting yourself first is not as a trend, but it's a survival tool. Shadow work is definitely not cute. It's not aesthetic. It's just basically sitting with the ugliest parts of yourself and asking where did this come from and what to do with it now. And it changed everything for me. And it really has helped me along the way in my journey of becoming the person I am today. Another thing I did was I had to learn how to self regulate my emotions. I would do deep breath. Deep breath is amazing. Also, meditation as well. I would just meditate for at least 5-10 minutes. Prayer was something that I did. I did listen to a lot of prayer videos, depending what type of prayer I was listening to. Another thing was journaling my feelings, journaling and scripting how my life is. What I also did was I listened to subliminals, which actually reprogram my subconscious mind of the person I want to become today, the woman that has it all. But I do have a question. What is the one question you have been afraid to ask yourself about your patterns, your choices, your wounds? What would happen if you finally ask it? So I do want to discuss the woman I am now versus the woman I was 7 years ago. So in 2018, Layla versus the 2025 Layla. 2018 Layla was very insecure. She had a lot of fake confidence. She had a lot of anger. She just had very unresolved issues and some trauma that she had to work through, but she hasn't. And versus Layla 2026, she's whole, she's healed, she's complete. She don't give a fuck. She's pretty much unbothered. I tell you right now, I would not date the 2018 version. That 2018 version was a broken doll. I wouldn't even want to look at her. I would not want to be near somebody like that. I would want to date the woman I am now because I'm stable, I'm secure, I'm whole, I'm healed, I have my shit together. And what has changed for me is that I just stopped giving a fuck. And I know I always say that. When I stopped giving a fuck, I basically started shifting the focus on me. I just stopped caring what people think. I just pretty much seek validation within myself, not from anybody. And that's what I did. It was just self-confidence, self-reassurance. That's what it was. And shadow work definitely played a big part in that. But I will also recommend to get therapy. Also get a mindset coach, get a life coach as well to navigate your goals, your mindset, where you want to be in life. And yeah, that's about it. Just knowing what you want and refusing to settle for less. And I would date the woman I am right now. I would choose her. I would definitely invest in her. I would show up for her. And from the person who needed a man to choose her to the woman who chooses herself, that is everything. But I do have a question for the audience. Would you date yourself right now? Not the future you, not the version you are working towards, the version that exists today. And if that answer is no, what needs to change? And who needs to do that work? So my message to Black women is to stop chasing, start becoming the right people, the right man, the right friendships, the right opportunities. They do not need to be chased. They are attracted to the women who are becoming. When you finally choose yourself, so choose yourself every single day without apology, without explanation, without waiting for permission. That is her take. If this episode resonate with you, drop a comment. Tell me, are you chasing or are you becoming? Subscribe for more Her Take. And remember, nobody's not going to dim your shine. Peace.